in the background, you can hear the sounds of a cafe shop.
And I'm Michael.
Michael's quite silent, actually. That's because we've been searching for a good spot to record our podcast at. And we've been going around and around, basically around the world. And every place seems full. And another problem is that we're actually recording now with my smartphone because, of course, I didn't charge my laptop for this live episode.
Can I just say that it's really ironic that we didn't make it clear to one another who was going to bring which microphone. So I was actually loading up, charging my field recorder. Bro, thanks. And then it turns out he thought, let's just use mine, and then I didn't bring my field recorder that was actually now then 60% charged. So
if you've seen our latest podcast episode, we're sitting in a garden in our city, and we talked about the short story of your life. And this episode we recorded with Michael's film recorder, but we wanted to try something new. Of course, my microphone has a better quality than a 20-year-old field recorder.
You take that back.
So that's I guess a compromise that we had to do is of course, a laptop needs charging and it eats more energy than an old field recorder. So that's why we're recording this intro, funny enough, at the Intro Cafe in Karlsruhe. Shout out to Intro. But we expect a sponsorship happening soon. And
before we get sued,
we'll see where the journey leads us. See you in a bit. Welcome back, everybody.
Now we are in a different location, in the midst of nature.
It's peaceful, it's quiet. You may hear some cars driving in the background or some people walking behind us.
Isn't that part of the charm?
It's part of the charm, absolutely. And I find it so funny because our audio quality is decreasing from episode to episode.
Yeah, that's true. Although I felt like I had more of a grip of how to edit, mix my audio. And then afterwards, with each recording, we then went to my field recorder, and now we are going to phones. But I guess this is
part of the podcast life.
Maybe.
You have to hold the smartphone like this.
I mean, I think we're loud enough.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, it's been a while, actually. It's been almost a year.
Yeah, but we have...
Holy cow.
We tried to record something, but the audio is unbelievably hard to synchronize because we were recording in different locations.
Yes. It's so surreal, actually. So maybe I think it's our 10th episode. So
there are probably three anniversaries we have to
celebrate.
Yeah.
So okay, when did our first episode come out?
21, I think.
No, in 2020.
Really? With Tenet?
Tenet.
20? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So almost more than 2 years ago. And then I think we did an episode on Loki.
We did an episode on Loki. Do you really want to name everything? I don't.
No.
It was not the. We talked about Taxi Driver.
Let me pull out.
Why? Okay, why does this matter right now?
It does not matter, but just for nostalgia. So yeah, we did Tenet. In the same year, in fall of 2020, we did Taxi Driver. We talked about Parasite and Memories of Murder.
Yes.
And much, much more. Then, I believe in the same year, we did an episode on Oldboy, The Social Network, and A Clockwork Orange. Then also in the same year, about Howl's Moving Castle with Kiwi.
Yes.
And then she left when we started to talk about Alien and Aliens.
Yes.
Then, yeah, and then we had a hiatus of
Probably 8 months.
8 months, yeah.
I
So
don't
we
know.
did this huge recap
Yeah.
episode that was 4.5 hours long, from February to August.
Yeah, that's
And then
we talked about Loki.
her,
Don't forget it. And yeah, we talked about her.
Loki, right?
Loki, her, and Lost in Translation.
In quarantine.
In quarantine, yes. Right.
Then, yeah, also in quarantine we did another recap actually
Oh
from
my God.
September to December. That was 2021. Yeah. And then in 2022 in May we did our Windy episode, which
Our
is not
single episode
which is
for 2021.
yeah, which is not
True.
in our series of film talks actually. So this is a separate episode. And now we're doing our 10th episode anniversary. Let's
That's
yeah.
I can't clap right now.
Okay,
but
I'll
I'm
give you a
okay. Let's clap.
That's so good.
Clap in those cheeks.
Yes. Perfect. So, actually we're not going to do a recap from last year.
Yeah, that would be too exhausting.
That would be too exhausting. We have a couple of movies that we wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, what movies?
Oh,
Michael?
okay. So, okay. Now I feel like I have to shout out some movies I saw last year.
Okay, well, let's do some shoutouts.
No, okay. I just named two. The Northman is pretty good. I would say it's very simple,
okay.
but
Wait,
still very great.
Yeah, we actually tried to do a recap episode.
Shit,
But,
right, that's
yeah.
where we talked about. Yeah, okay.
But the audio was so messed up. It was very delayed. We couldn't figure out how to align the two audio tracks.
Yeah.
So that's why we're partly here, because since we're now in person together, not through Discord or anything, there's no need to align audio files, because we have one single audio file now
Yes.
that we are now recording on on Michael's smartphone.
Yeah, this is all intended, definitely.
Apologies for the bad quality, but that's part of the podcast experience of our 10th episode.
Okay, yeah.
Because we're going back to the roots. We're going back to nature.
Bro, then, like, in 10 years, we will just have a vlog, and we will just write down what we think. Like, it's not even... No, we
because
want...
we're abstracting our podcast, so then we're just communicating telepathically, and then it's a silent podcast, you know.
Oh, okay. Or maybe we will go to... instead of audio, we will go to, like, film, but silent films.
Yeah.
That would be...
That would be also a homage to, I guess, the film history itself.
Yes. Anyway, I just wanted to say Everything Everywhere All at Once. Probably the best
Was
movie.
great. Watch it together. Yeah.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, and The Northman. And I think those were the movies I would definitely shout out.
Yes.
And we also saw, I guess, The Unbearable Weight of
Massive Talent.
Massive Talent, which is funny, in my opinion. Although I don't know that much about Nicolas Cage, but I still find it very enjoyable.
Yeah. Can you check if it's recording? Yeah, it's recording. Perfect. Okay, yeah, basically what I have to shout out is similar to Michael's shout outs. We watched Everything Everywhere All at Once together in cinema. We both liked it. We wanted to steal the film poster at the end, but we got caught. Remember?
You got caught.
Yeah.
You got caught. Don't
I
say
got
we.
caught.
Don't say it we.
At least I had the balls to try it, okay?
Yeah,
So-
to commit a crime.
The funny thing is actually,
Yes.
the people in the cinema...
I know that you know some guys of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I don't think he's working there anymore.
Oh,
But,
okay.
like, I asked them a couple of screenings afterwards.
what they do with the posters?
Yes, and they archived them. And they reused them. And Michael and I were in Chunking Express this week, and the poster they had for Chungking Express was actually the original poster from
Holy.
1994.
No fucking way.
And they also had the guy I was talking to told me that they had the original poster for the first Star Wars as well.
Okay, this is
crazy.
This is really crazy. That reminds me about, like, I like things where you feel like you are a part of history, or where you have a piece of history in your hand.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one of them. Or like if I have vinyls and I see some, but
Yeah.
whatever, I digress. Anyway, I guess then are you done with your 2022?
Wait, Northman, yeah, sure, Northman was cool.
Yeah, sure, yeah, it was great, I guess.
Also, yeah, I rewatched all Harry Potter films. They were
I was
good.
explicitly talking about what we would shout out of 2020.
Okay, yeah, I watched them last year.
Yeah, but I talked about movies.
That-
we would.
okay, yeah, sure.
Because
Nope.
no, which I watched recently.
Okay, that's cool. Also,
honestly, I think it's weaker than Get Out.
yeah, I get that. But maybe we can talk about it later on. Another movie I have to shout out is Bones and All. The movie kind of
Was that last year?
That was last year.
Holy shit!
It went really cold, really fast, because it's a small production. Of course, it starred Timothée Chalamet. It sounds so weird if you say it
Timothy
right.
Chalamet.
And it's another movie by Luca Guadagnino, who did Call Me by Your Name and Suspiria.
You know, with the cannibal.
Yeah.
The other cannibal.
With the real life cannibal.
Yes.
And Bones and All was a great experience in movie. It was essentially.
I really wanted to see it, but I hadn't.
Maybe
had the
you
time.
can ask your cinema in Hamburg to screen it.
Oh, you mean though? Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It was, for me, the best movie of last year. But I have a small grudge with it that I'm not going to talk about now, because that would just be another useless tangent. Go watch Bones and All. Give the movie some love, because it deserves it.
I bet the reason you don't like it that much is because you see Timothy with another girl and you want Timothy for yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah, and now we are getting to talk about movies that we have actually watched recently.
Yes.
So I guess I should start with a quick shout out to, I think, one of the nominees of this year's Oscars, with Close, which was nominated, I think, for the foreign film category. And I would say, if it won, because I don't fucking care about the Oscars.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Except, I shouldn't digress. But the cook is apparently really good at the Oscars. Yeah, Wolfgang Puck is his name. Anyway, yeah, Close is like a really great coming of age drama. It's about like finding yourself, and like really just a mature movie about a friendship between two boys that are kind of now going into middle school, and they are slowly distancing themselves, and conflicts arise, and then something very like tragedy strikes, and then it's about guilt and how do you deal with guilt, and how do you, like, all these emotions where you don't know how it really went down, just kind of, all these thoughts are going through your head about, I guess, the past and everything. And it's just very beautiful, and I really love that movie. It made me, I didn't know what to expect. Like, I went there blind. I watched the trailer only, and I had to say, when it hit me damn hard. I was crying a lot in the cinema. And yeah, what can I say? Great, tender, intimate friendship that is depicted. What a haunting, tragic drama that is also at the end kind of uplifting, with a, like, just, and how can I say, it's also not, it's really mature in the sense that it doesn't have any unnecessary drama. It's like really kind of subtle, or like, I wouldn't say completely necessarily realistic, but you feel like, yeah, that's what a person would do in that situation. They don't, if something, I feel like when people are trying to depict drama, they always think of like people just shouting at each other and everyone's accusing each other and are, blatant about what they're thinking. And I like that the movie didn't do that. Exactly that. Like, it showed with like how it's edited and everything, like what is going through his mind, and it's more in like the more subtle things. It is shown how, you know, it is affecting him, and not in like him overtly saying what he's feeling or shouting at something. And I really, really enjoyed that.
Like, according to your praise, I think I have to see the film. And I think the Schauburg in Karlsruhe was actually showing it. So perhaps if I have time, or if I'm in the correct mood, because I'm really afraid of those films. It's like, you know, if I, before going into the film, if I know like what the film is not necessarily about, but what the tone of the film is, it's like, it scares me if everybody that sees it says, yeah, it's gonna destroy you. Like, I'm not so masochistic to, you know, seek the destruction.
Didn't you read The Little Life?
Yeah, I read it, and that's why I'm so cautious now.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
Because that was not fun. It actually. So that's why I'm cautious.
Okay. Meanwhile, I listen to all the sad, depressing music in my
but
free
that's
time.
different, man.
How's that different? Watching a sad movie or watching or listening to sad music, how is that different?
Because music is sad if you make the music sad. Literally, every music is associated with emotions. And if you can listen to, I don't know, happy songs while feeling sad, and you still still somehow associate the song with negative and sad feelings.
Yeah.
But you can't deny the fact that a sad movie is like sad, because you can't change the narrative of the movie.
What if it's a B movie though? Like, it's a sad B movie, and then you're like, well,
it's hilariously sad. You mean?
It's hilarious, and then you're not taking any of the drama seriously. What then? Like,
Yeah,
I think you can like,
but that's
like, kind of deform both into whatever you want. I mean, okay, I guess you're not paying that much attention to the lyrics, maybe, if you're, you know, kind of doing it in the background, then maybe. But I feel like if you're really consciously listening to an album, it's kind of the same thing.
Okay, yeah, right. Maybe the visual, maybe the visual sense is, let's say, more sensible, or like, okay, let me put it this way. It's easier to sense sadness with your eyes, perhaps, than with your auditory channel.
I don't know, man.
Because, like,
what if I give you the recording of someone calling 911, and it's about, hey, my kid just died. He's here and he's lying on the floor.
Yeah,
I need your address.
But I think seeing something is gives you a more realistic rendition, and it's easier to process. So the feeling of sadness is perhaps easier to feel, or more tangible than if you actually hear something, because it's like sounds can be, like, I think, manipulated more easily than what you actually see. Of course, what you see may be fake, but I think your first reaction is always, if you see something, you think it's...
What about horror movies?
But that's another thing. It's the medium also.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, but I would say, like, if horror was silent, it wouldn't be frightening.
Perhaps it would be even more frightening. I mean, there are a lot of horror films which are very effective, which use hardly any sounds at all.
Yeah, because you know that there's sound, and then you expect something maybe to come up, or that, you know, when it's like really tense and it's so quiet that it's already eerie, but you know that there's still sound.
Yeah, sure.
This is a stupid discussion.
Yeah, okay. Let's move on.
Yeah, close. And you...
Okay.
Yeah.
On that note,
Okay.
I'm actually doing a great segue. So I watched All Quiet on the Western Front.
Which I need to see, which is on Netflix.
In German, im Westen nichts Neues. And
wow, why is your German so good? Just kidding.
so you could also say, yeah, well, it's a war drama, and it's bound to be sad, and yeah, sure, but the scenario depicted in All Quiet on the Western Front is like a more distanced to our situation right here than perhaps to Close. Like in Close,
Okay.
you said like two boys experience a tragedy.
Okay.
And those two boys, they could be like our neighbor or somebody that we meet on street.
Yeah.
Sure, we could also meet war veterans on the streets, but we as a civilization have moved on so far from like
You don't know that there's a war going right now.
I know. I'm not discrediting it, but still, it feels near to us. But at the same time, it's still something that we associate with the past.
Okay.
But now, since the war is now happening, and we're not talking about politics here or something, we're just a movie podcast. The movie All Quiet on the Western Front gains a completely new weight. So just to maybe describe some greatly done scenes in the movie. In the beginning, you see like a soldier who goes to war, basically.
Yes.
And then he obviously dies, and then instead of perhaps showing directly switching to the main protagonist, no, we see how the uniform of the deceased soldier gets refurbished to be sent to a new one, to be sent to a new recruit.
Oh.
And basically that's like the never-ending cycle of war.
That sounds you have
you're
disposable, kind of.
You're like really disposable. You have people who die basically for nothing and
like
who
flies.
Are now replaced, like flies, or parts in a production line. You're insignificant, and everything that is shown in All Quiet on the Western Front is insignificant. Everything that they're fighting for, everybody who dies around the protagonist is insignificant. The protagonist is insignificant. You can change every person in this film with any other person, and the person would still be insignificant. So it's so geniusly done, because the film is in itself depicts something insignificant, but gains significance through this insignificance.
Okay.
Because
yeah. Sure.
It
so
undermines every as almost the common hero structure in let's say in screenplay.
Yeah.
You have this one, and you have this one guy, and he's not the chosen one. He's not on some crazy ass mission like in 1917.
Yeah.
He's just a simple dude, and as I said, he's replaceable. And it's also like showing the cruelties of war. Of course, there are so many films to show the cruelties of war, but those movies have still a slight hint of, glorification. Perhaps you defeated some enemies and you then rise above them or something.
Or you show Schultz, or what is his name from Apocalypse Now? Where you have this guy who is kind of
who
guy got insane during the Vietnam War. Yeah, I get what you mean. I think.
And let me tell you one more scene. So the, in air quotes, protagonist finds himself in a crater, with another French guy.
Okay.
So they stare at each other.
Yes.
Okay. And then the protagonist goes at him and basically stabs him, right? He stabs him.
Is this now a spoiler?
It's not necessarily a spoiler. He stabs him. The guy basically doesn't die. He lives for a couple of minutes. And you just hear the sounds of his blood like spilling out. He tries to catch air. And then you see the protagonist who basically shuts out all sounds. Who's like cowering beside him like a frightened child. And he goes to him again. I think he stabs him sometimes, goes back, realizes he isn't dead. He's still alive,
my fuck.
And it's so... Oh my god, it's so uncomfortable to watch. And then actually he goes to save him. Essentially.
Okay.
But then he dies. And then he takes out like a picture from his breast pocket, and he sees, of course, he has a family, and he's a goddamn typograph. And
that's cool.
This scene alone is like, okay, first of all, you have people who are not experienced in fighting, who fight for no cause at all. Then
not to them at least.
Yeah.
It seems insignificant to them. They don't know why they are fighting.
Yeah, they don't know what they're fighting for.
I mean, it's like, the higher powers are kind of like making you go to war, and then it seems nonsensical.
You are puppets, basically.
Yeah.
And then you have the natural instinct, of course, to defend yourself. But
which war was it? Was about what? World War II or World War I?
World War I.
Yeah, okay, I see.
And so they both like they know they don't want to kill anybody, but just to protect themselves they have to kill. But like in first place,
it's like a dichotomy, right?
Yeah, it's a dichotomy. And then the instinct to save one another. So it's all depicted in one scene, and it's really great. And
I think that's I don't know, the scene you described it sounds like a lot about how it kind of describes, I guess, the human condition in a certain sense.
Yes, absolutely.
With our instincts also to survive, but also to like care for each other.
Absolutely.
Even though we are technically enemies.
But
in what sense,
Yeah, in what sense are we enemies? So yeah. And that's that.
Yeah.
You didn't watch Banshees of Inisherin, right?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
You should see that one too.
I mean, I still have enough. Yeah, I will see it when I'm probably back,
maybe to quickly talk about this movie. So, Colin Farrell and Brandon Gleeson?
Yes.
They play like friends, and oh gosh, I don't even want to summarize this movie because...
Just say what you feel.
Because before watching this movie, I listened to a lot of podcasts who described the movie. And it's always like this, Brandon Gleeson doesn't want to be friends with Colin Farrell anymore. Suddenly,
Isn't it the other way around?
No, it's the
way
isn't
around. Okay. I know that it's about one guy who wants to strive for something more than his simple island life.
Yes. He wants to leave basically fingerprints.
Yes.
So he plays the violin, and he wants to spend his time composing music instead of talking to Colin Farrell, who plays this nice guy who is at the same time very, like, for lack of a better word, simply straight. Simple-minded. Let's say simple-minded.
That's probably...
I don't want to say that he's dumb.
Bruh.
But he's essentially a little bit dumb.
Ignorant.
And so, I guess I don't want to... The movie doesn't have really significant scenes, but it's just really well filmed.
Okay.
And it's really peaceful, and...
Would you say it has a greater point?
It has a greater point, actually. It's the... I guess...
I mean, isn't it about the dichotomy between the the mouse that lives in a city and the mouse that lives in a village? Like, which life you prefer in a certain sense?
No, because they don't. The people don't even strive for.
But the one guy strives for a bigger life, right?
A bigger life, but in a sense that he wants to do something like
great
that goes beyond his existence.
Yeah, I see.
And so, firstly, you think, the fault is on one side, but then again, it shifts, and there are more layers to the problem, I guess. And that sounds so cliche, man.
It sounds very generic.
Oh gosh. But the movie is so innovative in many senses.
Okay.
Because it also plays with...
It plays on an island.
Yes, it plays on, that's the most significant part of the film. No, Colin Farrell's character actually just goes through cycles of loneliness and desperation, and then just maybe to... I don't know if it's a spoiler, but at one
I do
point,
want to see that movie.
At one point in the film, it becomes like a small revenge story.
Okay.
About a certain thing that I'm not going to talk about, because this thing is actually it's not necessarily a human being, but it's something that lives on the island, which is of great value for Colin Farrell's character.
Okay.
And also, you think, once you hear the motivation of Brendan Gleeson, you think, oh yeah, he's right. I can understand why he doesn't want to talk to him anymore. But
Yeah.
then you realize, man, you're kind of a dick, man. Like, it's okay to not want to talk to a person, but don't be that rude, you know?
Yeah, because I would guess that Brendan Gleeson is more like, bro, you ruined my chances to become that great. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to watch it.
I will.
I think do you know if your cinema in Hamburg still shows it? But
Maybe,
since
I'm
if
not
they
sure.
I guess if they show Decisions to Leave and Close, they
They may show that, but yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about Decision to Leave,
yes.
though, what a great movie. We didn't watch it together, but we independently watched it, and I think we can all agree that movie was amazing. So it's by the same guy who also made Oldboy and The Handmaiden, where I haven't actually seen The Handmaiden, but want to. And it's essentially like it's a weird combination of like a drama, thriller, and romance story.
Yes. Also mystery.
Yes. Whereas in German it's like The Lady in the Mist. So
yeah. The Lady in the Mist. Yeah. You gave it 4.5 on Letterboxd.
You gave it 4?
I gave it 4.
Yes. Yen also gave it 4.5.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, she told me before she gave it the score.
So I'm right, just kidding.
Oh gosh. Okay. You want to summarize the movie?
I mean, really, I think, just a basic, like, the basic prompt is, we have this police guy who kind of is only really, like, his whole life kind of revolves around him solving crimes. He has insomnia, and he has, he's constantly thinking about unsolved cases, and he has a family, but he's barely spending any time with them, and only also on the weekends. So it's like a very, I don't know, it's kind of a sad existence, but that's kind of what he wants. He's kind of oblivious to, well, he kind of likes you, like, he kind of likes even the fact that this is the way it is. And then he kind of has to investigate a case where a guy falls down a mountain and dies, and then the wife of that guy is one of the main suspects, and really it's like so he has to investigate her, but during the investigation he also kind of becomes obsessed with her, and then there's this kind of cat and mouse game between them. He
falls in love with her as well. So he becomes...
Yeah, I mean, I thought I would. I implied then with being obsessed.
But it can be also like...
obsession,
Yeah,
like, oh, she must have done it. But also that's also kind of the case.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yes, and it's a really weird tension between like what they want.
It's so vicarious. It's like they never tell one another their feelings, I guess. They
Not much,
they
yeah.
communicate through actions.
Yeah.
And actually, I found the movie. So, you know, there's roughly at the midpoint where. So it's a spoiler podcast. So if you haven't seen the film, go watch the film and come back. And then
I would say, before we go into spoilers, it's also like the story is weird, but I would say like the acting and the direction and the music is just really great, and definitely like I would say it's my favorite from the ones that I've seen. My favorite Park Chan-wook movie that he directed in terms of cinematography and directing, because there are scenes where I'm like, you know, the way he incorporates scenes to like show you what is happening. It might be a bit stylish, over stylish, but I really just enjoyed how like the direction he went, and that's why I would say it's like it's both his best looking movie. It's not too like flexing with, you know, having cool shots, but at the same time it's just also like really impressive just to see what he's doing with it.
So yeah, at the midpoint, where the first case is where he finds out that she actually killed her husband.
Yeah, and I think
thought the movie was over. So
kind of same. Yeah.
And
it
then
feels like a.
Then it went on to the second case, and I was like, yeah, give me more of that, man. And also the basically the woman, she also falls in love with him.
But it's important to note that at different times.
At different times, right?
Because he essentially falls more and more in love with. So he always found her intriguing, even the moment he saw her. But at first he kind of prioritized being a good cop, right? Investigating her, and then it getting weirdly stalkerish.
Yes.
But the less he suspects her, and kind of like he gets kind of, it's a very toxic relationship, because the same time he investigates her and gets to know about her, he kind of falls in love with her even more, and then kind of comes to peace with her case when he thought that she didn't do it, but then when it turned out she did it, he kind of fell,
out of love.
Out of love a little bit.
Because
like he was heartbroken.
He felt
a bit.
betrayed.
Yeah, he felt betrayed.
And he also felt.
He knew then that it was kind of a facade by the woman. Yeah.
He also felt degraded.
And
really.
Like played, because.
Played.
Like morally, he knows he's done something wrong, but he can't help himself because he's dug himself so low.
And also, he's like this honorable police guy, and he basically was, as you said, he was played by this woman, and that meant, like, basically he got dishonored.
Yeah.
And that basically leads to him sending off the woman, giving her essentially another chance.
Yes.
And this woman, at the same time, falls in love with the guy, and she basically continues to, I don't know if we never know if she commits the second crime, but she's involved
we do know.
Okay, yeah, she's involved in the we do know.
We do know.
She basically clings to another husband.
Yeah.
And
but it doesn't give her the same satisfaction.
Yes, so she kills him, and
indirectly.
So the funny thing is, this crime happens in a rather peaceful town.
Yes.
Where the police guy.
The police guy used to live in a very busy area where a lot of crime would happen, but then he would move in with his wife.
Yeah.
But now that he is actually at a quieter place, he can't find peace since he met her.
Yes. So you have this insomnia aspect. I guess that's kind of cliche that you have a police officer who is like restless when it comes to crime solving.
But now it's because of love, kind of. I mean,
and also because it's like it's a unsolved crime, and his inner self that wants to.
Yeah, but it's more than that though. Like the reason when he was still in the city, the reason he could sleep better was because he was around that woman. You know, when he was looking from the car into her apartment, or when she kind of helped him sleep.
But he had insomnia before as well.
Yeah, he had insomnia, but genau, right. So like the insomnia always happens when. So he had insomnia before, and now with the woman gone, he has insomnia, and even worse than before. Like a drug, you know.
Yeah, like a drug, and it's like a thing that's bothering him, like something that just sticks to him, like I don't know, like a parasite.
It's like wrong director though.
Wrong director,
it's a kind of it's a lot of shame involved because he can't. You know, he knows that what he did was wrong, and he knows that she did it, and he still has emotions for her. You know.
Yeah.
So that's where the shame comes from, because he can't act out being a policeman as he could before, and that's also something that keeps him awake, literally.
Yes. So yeah, the cinematography is
stunning.
Great. It's stunning. Like there aren't even like. It's hard to describe. So you don't have like those money shots as you have in Oldboy, where you have this long hallway scene. Yeah, it's filmed like from the.
It's still very stylish though. Like
it's so stylish, so sleek. Holy shit!
Like I like at the end when the movie essentially ends with the woman becoming his final mystery, unsolved mystery, where she commits suicide by essentially digging herself on the beach,
and then
and then the police guy could never find her ever again, and she disappeared. So
that's why the woman in the mist, you know.
Yeah, but also the city is called something about the mist, like the small city is also misty, but it's also mist there.
And the cinematography is like, you don't have those grandiose shots of.
It's also not very much playing with colors.
It's not
that
playing
much.
A lot with colors. It's playing with, for instance, it's playing with focus and blurriness. So you have the scene in the interrogation room,
like just how staging, how it's staged.
How it's staged. It tells so much about the character dynamic. So you have the two the woman and the policeman sitting. Opposite of each other
in the interrogation room.
And they're mirrored in the I guess in the glass behind them, and then you have one person blurred out, and the other person is like in focus, and then the focus shifts. Or in the same room, you have shots.
That sounded kind of generic, like you said, like one is in focus. Okay,
but you can't describe it properly in words. But if you see, it's like so, like it's so also, beautiful.
Like also perspective shots, like at the end when she finally kind of is
dug under
the sand, and he's kind of standing out of her, and then you get a camera shot of him where you have like a frog perspective shot. Of her kind of looking up to him.
And also like the shots in the interrogation room where the monitor is filmed, or like people are like the person is cut out but then shown elsewhere in a reflection or on the monitor. It's like so ingenious. It's like this. You never have a direct view. You just that's kind of a voyeuristic view on this whole thing, right? And it's
talking about voyeuristic though, also how he, like, when the police guy is investigating the woman, how he literally is then there in her apartment. Like, I mean, of course, it's kind of, I guess, a tool that you have with the mystery aspect, like the crime aspect, with like detective literally being there and kind of replicating everything. But in this case, it also has like you said, this voyeuristic quality, where it's not just about solving a crime, but him wanting to know more about this woman and getting to know this woman through second, like, not by directly meeting her or something, but rather through this voyeuristic lens.
Yes, and I mean, that's probably like that's why I praise the movie the most. It uses techniques that are so daring and that just show perfectly, like, exemplifies the film medium. It's like you have, as you said, Michael, you have a person basically being there on spot, but we know that he's not there. That it's just an imagination. Or then you have like the police when he's fronting the woman, and the woman basically gives she exposes the evidences that she actually killed her husband. It's like in the same room, in the same place, a flashback is shown. And it's so well done because the transitions are so clean and elegant, and everything is so precise.
It's really precise. Like, I don't know, it's Hitchcock in one of his lessons. Oh my god, I'm bringing up Hitchcock. But he brings up how, like, when you cut between different shots, it creates meaning. Like, the cuts themselves are creating the meaning behind it. And then I think that this movie really exemplifies how you can do that. You get, like as you said, like with the flashback and everything, cutting back, or it's been a while, but you know what I mean, where you kind of get this higher level of subtext behind it. Yes. Oh gosh. Yeah, and the reason why I didn't give it 4.5 is, I can acknowledge the marvelous technical side of the film, and like in terms of screenplay and everything, really, I have no negative things to say. But for me, it's like there is this emotional component that is missing. I kind of rooted for the guy to maybe fall in love with, so in the end maybe to come together with. I also rooted for that, but that won't happen, right? That won't happen, right? If it were to happen, man, that would be such a fucking cliche ending. That would be a cliche ending, yeah. And that's why I would feel betrayed. Yeah. But so I'm very happy with how it ended, actually. And also, I have the feeling that, of course, we've seen a lot of Asian films, and there are cultural differences. I think emotionally we're more conditioned to like be fit for for here, like in the Western. Western movies. Just kidding. In Western movies, but in the Asian culture, emotions are secondary. You don't usually show your emotions like straight away. You always hide them. You try to display them in a different way. That's why movies like Decisions to Leave, they communicate with such subtlety and with such genius those emotions, you know. And sometimes it can come off as a little bit too fanciful. You know what I mean? It's like, I guess like the same with Drive My Car. You have the ability to speak. Yes. Just talk to one another. Like, if you love that person, just why do you have to play games? And it feels like they do it because they are in this movie, you know. But this movie is okay if you're talking about that. It's not very realistic either. It's not very realistic. I don't want the movie to be realistic or anything, and I respect that that this movie wants to do something that goes beyond just talking. Because if in terms of talking, you have movies like Before Sunset, or like just the Before trilogy, you know? Yeah, which I haven't seen, but yes. It's great. It's a really... it doesn't have as much subtext as like Decisions to Leave, but sometimes maybe introducing a little more of this like natural communicative component where not everything has to be a cat and mouse game can, just take off some of this... but I don't think I don't know if complexity, because
I can imagine if you're a screenwriter or if you're a director, you want your movie to be as complex as possible. You want to confuse the audience, and you're like, oh damn, you pat yourself on the shoulder and you're like, oh, that's so great, man.
Yeah, so if someone acts too much like a metaphor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, something like this.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I guess with the woman, I can kind of see that. But I don't know. I mean, I really like that they played it so, like, that they went so bold.
Yes, okay.
I also,
fair enough.
Yeah, I liked it, that aspect, and I wanted to say, like, when the police guy had sex with his wife, he also, like, it was also cut to the other woman. Do you remember? Like, they would cut to the the woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
That was
also
also
so great. Yeah.
That was also like, okay, yeah. I mean, it's not subtle, but it's like, it's just use the medium. Use the medium, yes.
Yeah.
And I also like, I mean, we said it's crime, it's mystery, it's drama, it's everything, but it's also kind of a funny movie.
Yeah, it's funny.
Like,
it's like this dry Korean, this dry humor that you often see in Korean films.
Yeah. Like, like for example, when an old boy, for example, like same director,
yes,
where he, like the guy's on the rooftop and there's this other guy who wants to commit suicide and he wants to tell a story and the other guy's like, nah, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then he immediately commits suicide in the background. And it's kind of like with here as well. Like there are some points where the humor also, like, it's dark, but it's really, like, I don't know, it adds also some more character and levitates.
Well placed.
Yeah, it's very well placed.
It's not
it doesn't take you out of it and everything. And maybe also going back to the cinematography. I mean, we said that it's not like the most flashiest thing, but man, those shots, for example, at the mountain at the beginning,
so great.
Or as I wanted to mention the shore, so that's why I brought up the ending.
Okay.
Those, it's like this, I don't know, like it's not a drone shot, but it's kind of from the above. Mm-hmm. Like those looked so good, and it made sense. Yes. Because in that moment, it was probably his lowest point, and it, like, this whole movie, it's like kind of a story about, for me at least, how this guy, essentially, his downfall with this woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
true.
Do you know Death in Venice by Thomas Mann?
No.
Okay.
I know Thomas Mann, but I also heard of Death in Venice, but because are you trying to like strike parallels? Or oh gosh. Okay.
Because I mean, the thing is, I haven't read it. I know the basics. Plot,
okay.
But it's like about a guy who, an older gentleman in Venice, and he kind of becomes obsessed with those. I don't know. Essentially, with like young men, like he's obsessed with their adolescence.
Okay.
And at the end, he becomes like this apparently crazy, deranged guy who tries to act just like that, unnatural to his age, so to speak. Okay. And I feel like this is kind of similar with him, like going more and more against what he is supposed to be. Like he might have insomnia and he might have this rocky marriage, but it's like he doesn't have the peace anymore, and now he doesn't even have this his upstanding quality. And
sure.
I had to think about it when
I have to pee actually.
Okay.
Can you stop the?
Yeah. All right. So I guess we are back. And we are back.
So we also wanted to. So before we talk about Chungking Express, right? Let's finish with Decisions to Leave.
Yes.
Before we talk about,
would you say it's your favorite
Wong Kar-wai film?
No.
Oh, no, Park Chan-wook. I'm sorry, Park Chan-wook.
Yes. Or like, where does it rank? Because I know you have seen Handmaiden.
I honestly like The Handmaiden very, very much, but The Handmaiden is, is placed with this not necessarily
necessarily
with the same tricks, but the handmaking is very complex as well.
Okay.
There are many twists and turns, probably more than in Decisions to Leave, and it feels more like an epos, you know.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I like the setting in the Handmaiden. I like the staging, the set design. It looks so good. But I have to say, I think Decisions to Leave speaks more to me because it feels more contained, right?
Okay.
And it's how do I put it?
What about Oldboy though? Like, how would they all rank?
We talked about it before, but I think we don't like Oldboy that much now.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we did talk.
Probably
about it.
the lowest from the movies I've seen.
Yeah,
Chan-wook.
but I would say like it's probably, I get why people would rank it so high though.
Because I get it, but like most of the people, they know about the reputation of Oldboy, and they're like, God damn, I have to be more international with my
because
films. So,
because you're like a white guy, and then you're like, I can't give this movie a bad rating.
Yeah.
No,
it's like, damn. Oh, everybody says that this movie is great. This movie has to be great. So, like, you convince yourself that this movie is basically great.
Are you projecting?
And like Oldboy, let's say Oldboy. No, I'm not. Oldboy is a good movie.
Yes,
right?
it is
It's
a good movie.
But whether or not it's a great or even a 5-star movie, man.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. And like, for instance, if you a guy who starts to get into, for instance, Asian cinema, Oldboy is probably one of the films.
Oh, the first films that you will watch. Yeah. And it will then shape you. Yeah.
And Oldboy is more action-packed than any of the other Park Chan-wook films. And
we can't say that. We don't know about Lady Vengeance.
Okay, yeah, we don't know. Yeah,
like
sure.
Any of the other movies that we didn't mention.
But there's a considerate amount of action in there, right?
Yes.
And it's bloody, it's violent. It doesn't really have things that, you know.
It does have a point, though. It's not mindless.
It doesn't have things that will negatively impact your opinion.
Yes.
It's more or less a film that you either like or that you love.
Okay.
Or perhaps that you have mixed feelings about. But it's not a film where you really hate. I don't. That's really generalizing this. But
I wouldn't. I think there are some people, like, I think if you're watching Oldboy, if you didn't go with the mindset that it's probably like, people praise Oldboy to the point of like, okay, it's so fucked up and it has this twist. And if you didn't have that, I think a lot of people wouldn't like it as much because there are some pretty graphic scenes. And I mean, like the incest, and we have like, it's graphic. I just want to say, I wouldn't say it's like, oh, you can just watch it. It's definitely a pleaser.
Yeah, but you know, since it's so fucked up, it leaves a greater impression on you, right?
That's true.
And
then people,
films,
yeah. In that
films,
sense, maybe yes.
It's less, let's say, less unforgettable.
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
So I guess we would both rank. Yeah, I mean, I only have two choices, so yeah, I would rank it lower.
I would probably rank the movies from Decision to Leave as the first one, then The Handmaiden, and then probably Oldboy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, before we talk about Chungking Express, I rewatched Blade Runner.
Yeah, you told me.
It's so great, man.
Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, 2049.
We should emphasize that.
Yeah, dude, it's like, you know, there's some things I didn't pick up on. For instance, the test with the cells interlinked within cells. I didn't really understand the first time I watched it what this test is about, but
could you maybe help me a bit, because I'm also lost now.
It's the baseline the Agent K has to recite. You know, he sits in this room, and then it's like this dude behind the wall asks him questions, and then he says cells, and then Ryan Gosling has to basically repeat cells or cells interlinked within cells and stuff.
Okay.
And you know, this is actually an anti-empathy test. And I realized it upon rewatch, because he asks some questions.
Yeah, I forgot that part completely.
It's like, yeah, it's basically, I don't know if it's exactly this question, but it's like you hold like what's it like to see a mother holding a baby, basically, and then he says cells, and Ryan Gosling has to say cells without acting on that emotional response, or acting on that response emotionally, because this empathy test is basically convincing you that you have no empathy, that you're just an android, and then you don't have a soul.
I see. Okay.
I don't want to talk too much about Blade Runner, because I think we both agree that this film is just amazing. It slaps so hard, man. And you had the privilege of watching it in cinemas.
Yeah, that's true. That was great. Although it's funny because I knew, like, I was the one that found it great. I went with another person and she thought it was not. She was
Carla?
No, Sophie.
Sophie, okay. God damn it, she has no taste in movies, man.
Okay.
Shout out to Sophie if you ever stumble upon this podcast, and yeah.
Yeah.
And
because that will happen. Yeah.
The thing is, okay, I started to listen. I don't know why, but like 2 weeks ago, I felt the urge to listen to like Vangelis, Blade Runner's Blues.
Okay, yeah, I know that one.
And I
where
was
he's kind of looking like where Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
like,
you know the music.
The
music with the saxophone in the background.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I felt so immersed, man.
Vangelis is a legend.
Yeah, I was like.
Did you know that he also made the da bam ba da da da?
What's that?
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know the movie where it's from, but it's like a very famous song, and it's from a movie where they're kind of running like happily, like in that scene, running happily at the beach, and it's like really uplifting, and I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, just send me the clip
whatever
afterwards.
Yeah.
And I really I then had the urge to rewatch Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Because I kind of felt again sucked into the aesthetic, and I didn't feel like I appreciated the world, the aesthetic as much as I did now the first time I watched it. And I must admit, I watched it 2 years ago just because I was a completionist back then.
Oh.
I thought, I had to tick that off from the watch list, and then.
Why didn't you watch Alien 3 though?
Oh yeah.
Exposed.
Never mind. Okay. And then Blade Runner itself, 2049. God damn it, this movie is so fucking handsome.
This movie?
Yeah.
This movie is handsome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm personifying.
So like the people in the movie. Oh,
I'm
okay.
personifying the movie.
Oh, okay. Which version did you see? That's probably also important. Director's cut or like which cut did you see?
You mean
there are multiple versions of Blade Runner.
2049, I mean.
Oh, you're still talking about Blade?
Yeah, I'm still talking about 2049.
Okay.
And maybe
because you talked about Vangelis, so I was like, now you're talking about the older one.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, I guess the Vangelis soundtrack gave me
the urge
to watch the new one.
Rewatch the new one because we both saw it previously.
I just had I don't know why I picked the old one over the new one, the new one over the old one. I just wanted to see 2049.
Yeah.
And just to close this topic, damn, when Tears in Rain played at the end, I was like, God damn, man.
Yeah, that was
such beautiful.
This is another story. Like we talked about you mentioned Everything Quiet at the Western Front.
Yeah.
And this is also a movie where you're not following the main protagonist, but it's then uplifting. Because he then acts like a martyr, even like he acts out as if he were the protagonist, so to say. But he's not.
He's just another fucking replicant.
Yes. This
is so incredible. But he is basically, so we immediately think he's like any other human. But then he's a replicant. But yes, he's a human. He acts like a human. Oh no, he's not a human. He's a replicant.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end, he's like, it doesn't matter. I just have to do the right thing.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's so great, man.
It's really great. I would rank it higher. Honestly, now rethinking back, I think I would prefer Blade Runner 2049 over Dune. Like, if you had to talk about which of the movies of the directors,
probably.
Yeah, it would rank higher for me probably.
Honestly, me too. I just feel like Blade Runner is visual. Of course, you don't have that much. You don't have that much freedom to play with when you're directing Dune because it's all about sand. Like, you're on a sand planet. There's not much variation.
Okay, yeah.
But I feel like in Blade Runner you have Agent K. He may come off a little bit cold and stuff, but I feel like you sympathize with him more than with Paul in Dune. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. It's 100%. Whoa.
Yes.
Of course. Who would disagree with that take?
And also, like, Blade Runner is just. I feel like in terms of the visuals, it gives you more than Dune. It just gives you more, and
I think
both soundtracks are great.
Yes, I mean Hans Zimmer.
Yes,
really
Hans
good.
Zimmer, I like the time Blade Runner takes to let scenes play out. Whether or not there's like they're
significant to the plot, yeah.
It's like I can watch Agent K like walking through this dystopian world like for hours, or like,
and it's also not always the same shit of like, oh, it's raining, it's in a big city and it's multicultural and they're flying cars.
Oh gosh,
like
we have to show off that we have this futuristic scenery,
which all kind of looks the same at this point a bit.
Yeah.
But they decided to start at a shitty off-city place where he's kind of hunting down one replicant. And I really appreciated that movie for being daring and going outside of the box with, I guess, what the fans would expect, what the movie would be in terms of aesthetics.
Just not restricting oneself on the sensational, but showing more of the world and even the less
kind of like an anti-Star Wars.
Yeah, less spectacular things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on to Chunking Express. You didn't feel the movie.
Yeah, we should. Okay. If you go to my letterbox, this movie used to be on my top 4 favorite movies of all time.
Gosh.
And recently, a friend of mine asked me, "Why don't we watch this movie? You liked it so much, and you're right now back in town. Why don't we just go to the cinema?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." And then he also said, "Oh, but it's in the German dub." And I was like, "Okay." And then I had this bad feeling where it was like, maybe I will not enjoy it as much. And then it did hit me. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much.
But like, okay, if it were original,
I wish I were you. As in terms of 4.5,
okay,
it could.
But if it were in like the original version, would you?
I think I would
higher
a bit. That's why I ranked it at 3.5. Honestly, it was at best a 3 out of 5 movie experience to me. Yeah, like I was really not in it, like in the mood for love. Sorry, but yeah, I was not feeling it because it's just I know. Maybe it's because I grew older and
now you're an old man.
Now I'm an old man and have everything figured out. But no, it's just I try to really put myself back in this lens of being more enthusiastic and less like
critical, cynical.
I felt really cynical when I was like, man, obviously we are a spoiler podcast, so we'll just say it feels really like it felt really cheesy to me, like the whole thing. Like when we were introduced to the first police officer, I thought, stop saying those cringy lines. Just look in the camera. Like, because for me, honestly, the saving grace of the movie is still that I love the cinematography and I love the vibe it gives off.
Gosh, yeah.
But when the dialogue started, I thought, man, Wonka, I now know, because I know he doesn't write his scripts. He doesn't have a script, and I know this is all bullshit. Yes,
he doesn't have a script. Yeah.
He just makes the fuck up, and it felt like for me to like Fallen Angels, but just better looking.
Wait, that's okay, but Fallen Angels is like really good looking as well.
Yeah,
I would place them two like
side by side
probably.
Okay, nah, I don't know. I think it's because Fallen Angels feels more amateurish to me. Because okay, let's be honest. One thing that Wong Kar-wai is not good at is action. Like
what?
Like action in the sense of like when like the girl in the wig like shoots people. I'm like whatever.
Yeah, okay, but we've seen Fallen Angels. You remember the scene where the hitman like just comes?
Yeah,
up
but
and
it's
okay.
It's kind of stupid though. Like when he talks about so now I have lived this assassin life and I have to be here at this time.
Okay.
And then they live vicariously through each other. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel authentic.
I know what you mean.
It's just stupid.
Yeah, I absolutely get your point. And also I have to say that he is probably one of the directors where you can say style over substance.
Yes. And honestly, isn't it Christopher Doyle?
Yeah, it's
Christopher Doyle carries Wong Kar-wai in my opinion.
Yes.
Honestly, without him, this movie, like, it would be pretty actors doing weird things.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Okay,
he helps like levitate, making those things actually sensible for me.
Okay. Gotcha. So first of all, yes, I love.
You loved it?
The cinematography is so it's just good, and it really just like my ratings are really mostly based on just how good this looks. And I know.
Okay, so you're a style over substance guy.
I'm a superficial guy. No, I'm just most like the city of Hong Kong.
Yes.
Is such a cool place to shoot at.
Yes.
And he just really brings the city to life, and every
That's
other
true.
film that just
also the ugly parts. Like he's not showing the fancy things. He's showing you like the dirty corners,
the dubious things,
the dubious bars where people fuck in the background.
Yes, and he's not. Yeah, absolutely, he's not glamorizing those things. And every film that precedes Wong Kar-wai's films that have this neon aesthetic and stuff, it's not the same.
Yes, it's
because
not.
Wong Kar-wai basically paved the way of films that have the same aesthetic. Okay, I feel like Wong Kar-wai's films are the closest to real life cyberpunk that we ever get. You have the noir aesthetics. You have the rain. You have the neon lights. You have the mysterious characters. You have the loneliness.
Yes.
It's so Blade Runner-esque, and that's why probably I gave it such a high score, because I just came off the wave of this, of this rush I felt with Blade Runner and Vangelis and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt just okay. I'm sucked right into it.
I get that. But to me, it's just it fell off completely in the dialogue, and also sometimes the music choice.
Okay, in terms of dialogue, now that I'm thinking about it, yes, the characters.
Like we both watched the dub version. We didn't know that we were in the same cinema watching the same airing. That was also hilarious. But so we both watched it dubbed, and would you say the dub made it worse for me?
Good.
Yeah, it's fucking bad.
I was like at the staff, the movie staff was like checking off my ticket, and he told us like, by the way, this movie is actually dubbed. I was like, oh shit. And he was like, same thought, man, same thought. I was like, god damn it. And then it's just like, okay, it's something you have to get used to. So
I feel like the German dub just kind of illuminated for me any sort of like mystery that movie had for me.
Absolutely. Probably because German's like a direct language. Perhaps.
It's our mother tongue. So if we hear to it, like I told actually Kiwi that when I listened to the dialogue in German, I thought, man, what a fucking idiot.
Yes, what a fucking idiot. And I completely understand your point. I also feel like the characters are reciting some lines of a pseudo
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know?
Like where everything is like
a
trying,
pseudo poem. Like
yeah,
everything tries to be deep, but in the end, it's just some guy talking about how miserable they feel or how life is
in the
pressuring
most
them.
unsubtle way possible. Like, oh, I thought love didn't have an expiry date, so now I will buy. Yeah, like
Now
what the fuck? It was so stupid.
Yeah, it's so cheesy, but I think I found some beauty in that cheesiness.
Yes,
because
that's what I wanted. I wanted to be like, yes, this is a 90s movie. Yes, people were more like doughy-eyed maybe and more enthusiastic and more like open to that stuff. But now I am just like, no, this is just stupid. This is not love.
Okay.
These people don't know what they're talking about, and he's a bad policeman.
Watch this movie from perhaps this perspective. There are probably like perhaps 4 or 5 people on the set, you know?
Yes, I mean, I can appreciate it for that.
They wanted
I gave
to
it 3.5 out of 5. I
Okay,
still
that's
you it a
still
good score.
Okay. I guess. Also, this movie gave me like, gave me like this energy to want to shoot something like this because Christopher Doyle makes this look so easy, even though it's not.
Yeah.
Also, like how he's composing
also the way he
screens, the camera movements,
yes,
the cuts, and
like when it just sometimes I don't know what scene it was, but where it would weirdly like there is this white guy in the bar that is kind of obsessed with the woman in wig,
with a wig,
and then you have this like when she goes, you have this shot over the shoulder of someone showing his face from that bar, and I was like, dang,
that's so good.
And then cut, and it's so pristine, but.
It's the camera feels like so free moving and like
it's a vibrant movie.
In there.
Yes.
And like the people.
Also the frenzy with like the frame rate where they that's so
iconic,
good.
So iconic,
it's so
man.
good.
It's so iconic, man. And also the music, like
yes,
this jazz. Oh gosh. Okay.
But sometimes it feels like when the saxophone plays, and you think
it feels too sensual.
Yeah, it's like, bro, I'm
chill.
not watching. I'm not watching an 80s. Honestly, it felt like an old porn movie at times.
Oh my
in
god!
terms of like soundtrack, I was like,
it felt like an old porn movie.
Like, yeah, you would see the sad guy, and in like I don't know, in the hypothetical scenario, maybe some girl would appear.
Yeah,
you know.
Talking about porn, it's kind of also a misery porn, right? You have this police guy in the beginning who is like seriously depressed, but he doesn't come off
it's kind of like Fallen Angels, where he's talking about things that are so like, yo, are you good? Because it's also, isn't it the same actor?
Yeah, it's the same actor.
Where he's kind of having this role where he's a fucking weirdo talking about all the depressing things in his life, and like where it's, I don't know, I felt to some extent it like the way he acts is supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Like when he's calling up all
really
his previous.
So it's really incredulous in that he's actually in this depressed situation. You don't buy that actually.
Yeah, you don't buy any.
Okay. But okay, let's talk about the second part.
Yes.
California Dreaming is
oh my god
to death.
Yes.
Literally in every scene.
If it were a cow, it would be dead right now. It would be a dead corpse.
Dead, man.
It would just be skin and
deflated.
bones. It would be bones and all.
Oh my gosh. But I still think both parts of the movie have a certain charm. In the second,
I actually like the second part more, I think.
Me too, because Tony Leung just kills it, man.
Tony Leung is good.
He's the better actor. Let's be honest. And also, the girl is weird. The girl has this weird atmosphere.
Okay,
which is at the same time cool.
Why are so many characters
so weird?
Yeah, in Wong Kar-wai's movies, like except for In the Mood for Love.
Yeah.
Like In the Mood for Love, to me, it's simple. It makes sense. It's subtle and mature.
Yes.
I buy the like guilt and then the potential sensual thing between them.
Yes.
When they know the others cheated, so they have their trying to have their revenge in a certain sense, but they don't act on it. I felt that.
Yes.
And
maybe like. Chungking
That's why
Express
I placed it now at one of my fourth.
Chungking Express was one of his first movies. That you have to consider as well.
That's true.
So he's maybe playing a little bit
Why he's more balls to the wall.
Yeah,
like,
his characters have different dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
In Chang'e Express, I feel like the dynamic is more superficial and like more extravagant and less subtle.
Yeah.
As in Fallen Angels or his consecutive movies.
Mm-hmm.
What I really liked was, again, the characters. They communicate vicariously through different things.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't really get that, but it's...
Wait, what do you mean?
Like for instance, in the second part,
yes.
It's like they obviously have feelings for each other. But
Tony Leung didn't have feelings at the beginning.
At the beginning, no. But the woman,
like hell no.
Slowly,
yeah.
yes. And then he goes to his apartment and then arranges things and stuff. And they also play this cat and mouse game.
Yes.
As we talked before in Decisions to Leave.
Where she lives she lives vicariously through his apartment.
Wife. Yes.
Yeah. Not wife, but
a partner,
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Partner.
And it's like also this mystique and this tension, but it never has a conclusion, you know. It never concludes. It never comes to anything really.
Well, when it comes to something, potentially,
I like
it
the
ends.
ending though.
The ending is
great,
it's
I
nice.
think.
It's like
it's open enough.
It's like Lost in Translation ending, but you removed the bitter. You removed the bittersweet
part.
It's just sweet
because they're gonna probably spend time together.
At least they will try to that.
Try.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah. I also have I think they also played a song by Fei Wong in the second part. Yeah, that was I actually
the song.
I like the song as well. When she's in his apartment. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I like Fei Wong's cousin in the movie, like supposed cousin in the movie.
He's not an actor, right?
If he's not an actor,
great performance, right?
No,
I feel
I didn't like the performance at all.
Like so many people.
Like he's trying to be that like bro, you know?
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, I don't buy this.
Yeah, okay. But okay, one thing.
And the humor doesn't land. Again, the humor doesn't land. If it's supposed to be humor,
like
I'm not sure.
It's so natural. It's like things that
it's natural.
It happens so naturally. Like you don't feel things are staged. You just feel like Wong Kar-wai and Christopher Doyle just walked in that store and
found weird
people and just started filming.
Kind of.
And it's so spontaneous. It's so like it captures the
there's for
the fleetingness of moments, and I think that's why I like this movie, despite of the bad dialogue or whatever, because like we have bad dialogue in life as well, like
but we don't make like that's like saying, well, my biography is boring because it's about my whole life and my whole life wasn't interesting.
Yeah, but sometimes you just feel like being philosophical or poetic, and then you just
talk
or something.
Yeah, but I guess that's the thing. You have to think about it. I feel like Wong Kar-wai's movies don't have a bigger point.
Yeah, Wong Kar-wai movies are just there to enjoy, but
it's a mood movie. He thinks in terms of moods. He doesn't have a script. He thinks about how he's going, what scenes would be cool.
Yes,
and
he himself doesn't have a deeper meaning, but basically
he tries to
interpret a deeper meaning into his films,
and he's very subconscious with it.
Yes,
like he doesn't think about it overtly.
Yes,
and I mean it also, like I've read recently his Wikipedia, and it says that one of his biggest inspirations was actually MTV, like the 90s MTV, and it makes also so much sense because what a lot of apparently Hong Kong directors really liked about the American TV channel is that it was so vibrant and energetic and so free, and I would say he kind of mastered that.
Did definitely master that, and just it feels just as you said, less constrained. It doesn't have a pattern. It's so unpredictable.
Yeah,
and like if you compare Decisions to Leave to Chungking Express, for instance, both stories are unpredictable, but in terms of like how they're shot, you feel like if you watch Decisions to Leave, you feel like how the movie looks and everything, it's like pre-programmed. You know, okay, probably they're gonna cut there, and then
it's like he's a perfectionist, right?
He's a perfectionist, and Wong Kar-wai is like he
Chris, we need to make a movie.
he indulges in those imperfections. Like he doesn't care if like there are lens flares or if something just gets in the way. He uses them to just.
It looks good, maybe.
Yeah, to make the world even more lively and energetic, and you're in there because you watch Decisions to Leave and you feel like you're seeing a masterpiece, but from a distance. You don't feel like as if you are there. You feel as if you're a voyeur.
Yeah.
But in Chungking Express, you are a person in Hong Kong, basically. Experience those day-to-day life things. And also, in Chungking Express, the cool thing is, like, the people there, they're just so ordinary. Like, you have those two... Okay, it's not that ordinary,
The woman in the wig is not an ordinary person.
But you feel like everybody in this town has a life, and everybody is... like the main character of their life, and from their perspective, their life is adventurous, you know? So it's inherently subjective.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a lot of... we didn't even mention that there's like monologues in...
there are monologues.
There are monologues in Chungking where they're very overt, but it feels like they're trying... It's their life, but they're trying to make it somehow... Make it exciting to themselves,
to see a deeper meaning of their life, basically.
I like Tony Leung's dialogue probably more when he, even though it's fucking cheesy, but when he's talking about how he's projecting on his clothes, like how sad it is.
Oh gosh, that was cheesy, man.
That was really fucking cheesy.
I didn't like that as well.
I was saying I was
said to the soul, "Oh, you got fat, man. You have to
you have to take care of yourself."
Oh, geez, what the fuck?
Okay, I guess some things also didn't age well.
Yeah, you're clearly not you're not a lunatic or anything. Well, why are you saying those things, man?
Yeah.
Are you trying to be a lunatic, man?
You're trying to be a Wong Kar-wai character. That's what you are.
I think we have to go.
Okay, so this is our movie talk.
Yeah. I really like the format. Perhaps in the future we can do like more live sessions in the park or something.
Maybe with a better microphone. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So see you next time.
Yeah, and keep on watching great movies.
Yes. Bye.
Explore. Bye.